speak to order. Please rise to the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Clerk, do the roll call, please.
Mayor Steve Feldman.
Here.
Councilmember Kevin Robinson.
Here.
Joe Muehlbauer.
Here.
Robert Fowler.
Here.
Sarah Hutt. Here.
All right, moving on to adopt the agenda tonight. Do I have a motion to adopt tonight's agenda?
I'll make that motion.
All right, Councilmember Muehlbauer makes that motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second, sir.
Councilmember Robinson makes a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Okay. Moving on to tonight's consent agenda. We have a motion tonight to adopt tonight's consent agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Councilmember Bauer makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Councilmember Udvig makes a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Moving on tonight to meeting open to the public.
No one signed up.
Okay. All right, we'll move right on to no special business, public hearings, I take it, or old business. Moving on to outdoor warning sirens.
And Mayor, Council, in regard to outdoor warning sirens, you'll see in the packets that I basically provided a summary of the discussions that have been had regarding adding an additional siren in St. Francis. On June 8, 2018, I presented the City Council the need and location for an additional warning siren in St. Francis, which would put us at 3 total sirens within the city. This was further discussed at an October 9th work session, and at that time, the general consensus was to move forward with adding a siren at the intersection of 237th and Nightingale. The proposed siren would be a DC siren, which operates mainly on battery power. Instead of relying on AC electricity to power the siren, the siren would then either be connected to an electricity power source or rely on solar panels to charge the batteries. Both options, along with the pricing, is laid out for you in your packets. There are 2 main reasons this location, I believe, are the ideal location for an additional siren. The first reason is that the Bethel Wildlife Management Area is just up the road from this location, and this area is really used year-round for various activities. And that's primarily where these sirens should be focused, is on outdoor areas. The second reason is that there are several residential developments that would be within the effective range of this proposed siren site. These housing developments were not here when our 2 existing sirens were installed in 1996, and these developments are currently out of the effective range of our current existing sirens. And by the effective range, I mean a sound decibel level of 70 decibels, or about 1.2 miles from the siren. That's considered the effective range of the siren, according to the federal warning system. Also discussed at the work session in October was upgrading our current sirens to DC power, and again, that's battery powered from their current AC power. And by converting the existing sirens to DC, the sirens would continue to operate even if the power went out in that area. Currently, if the power went out in the area of our existing sirens, that siren would not operate. And since the existing sirens are already connected to an AC electricity power source, one option would be to keep that power connection there to be used to charge the batteries. But when they're not charging the batteries, the siren would operate off of battery power. I do want to also bring up and mention that Anoka County Emergency Management, along with Federal Warning Systems, is in the process of conducting a siren study in Anoka County. What they're basically looking for, they're going to look at all the Anoka County sirens and basically recommend which ones should be replaced and which ones are fine. I don't know how they're going to determine that, but that is an upcoming study that they're going to be doing. They're also looking at updating all existing sirens to a 2-way digital activation system from an outdated analog system. This update will also be on the dispatch side of things, as they're the ones that actually activate the siren. Their system is very outdated and probably getting to the point where it's a little unreliable. So this new activation system, from what I understand, is supposed to be more reliable and effective in making sure these sirens get activated when they do that down at Central Communications. The exact costs are basically unknown at this time as far as what these upgrades are going to cost. They're still in the beginning stages, but I know they're doing some research on who's going to pay for that, but from what I understand, basically they make it sound like the price or the costs are going to be push towards the cities and jurisdictions that, where these sirens are located. And again, I don't have any final numbers, this is more just an informational item at this time, but the preliminary estimates is it could be a few $1,000s per siren site to upgrade the control board and some other things on the siren that they need to update to for this whole system to work. That could be in as soon as 2020. So with all that information I just threw at you, I can try to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay, well, I'll start off here, but, you know, I've got the dollar amounts down, Todd, and some of the concerns I have, and I like solar a lot, okay, so, but one of the concerns I have here is on your sheets here, on page 26 of the packet and 27 of the packet, it comes down to pros and cons that you highlighted, okay? And, you know, the one thing, where's the location of the solar panels on the pole of the siren? Is that ground level or is that on top?
I believe it's elevated. I'm not sure, I don't believe it's on top. I believe it's on the pole itself. I've seen them before out in western counties.
Well, the reason I'm asking is because it says here, may need to periodically clear snow and debris from solar panels. You know, I mean, we know about snow because we're going to be getting more snow here, and we know we're running out of place to put snow right now. So, what is the, how hard is it to maintain that?
I didn't really get further information from Federal Warning Systems on that. They just listed it basically as one of the downsides to these solar panels. It could require some further maintenance to keep it operating.
I know as we've had our meetings on looking, and we've looked at solar panels, you know, if they are fixed, that's one thing. If they rotate, then you can get the snow off, but this is not going to be like that. This is most likely to be a fixed solar array, solar panel. So that's one of my concerns as far as that, because I can't see having public works guys go up on ladders to shovel off snow every time you get a 3 to 5 or 5 to 8 or 1 to 3 or whatever. You know, I mean, you know, it's going to cover it up, and if the sun doesn't warm it up, you've got no power. So that's one of my concerns on that one. Then I go up, but on the other hand, you have a higher cost to begin with, but you save over time, so that's a benefit. But on the other hand, you're slightly cheaper with the electric, but then you got a flat fee of $5 a month, but you have a savings. It's slightly cheaper, but it kind of additional initial service fee to connect to for a power source. So there's 6 of one, half dozen the other on this. I mean, the numbers I've gone over so far for councils, like Council 02, from what I've gathered here from your initial page here, $13,875 is for the solar siren, okay? Then $12,500 because there's another $300 or $400 to $500 charge with siren with a solar pole, so $12,000 for the install. So I put $12,500 on top of that for a total of $26,375, and the conversion, which really is a no-brainer. We have to do the conversion because the siren on AC power alone would be ridiculous. If the AC power goes out, the siren's worthless, so that doesn't make sense. That's $11,432.84. So the whole total is based on the solar, not going with the connections on the AC for backup, be $37,807.84. We do have, of course, the $80,000 from the American Tower lease and one-time payment. So the money is there for this. If we go that route, it would leave over $42,192.16 of the balance, which we will leave in a capital fund for future upgrades, like for the analog to digital, whatever. So we'll have the money in place, or whatever we have to change these signs out, these poles out later on, which I'm sure the cost will come to the city, not the federal level. So I'm going to open up this for discussion. First of all, I want to ask for your input. What do you think is the way to go? Because again, it's 6.5 months. I don't want, again, I'm not going to have guys climb up on poles to clean snow off panels.
Yeah, and you know, in the wintertime when these panels are snow covered, I guess it would mainly affect the testing of them. If they're testing them, you know, in that time range where these panels would have gotten covered, where they couldn't charge the batteries, whether it's, you know, the first Wednesday of every month, or whether it's the silent testing that's done by the systems on a monthly basis, that could affect that. You know, as far as obviously in the summertime, we don't have to worry about that. We would be more liable to rely on them during the summertime when a storm comes or something like that. So I don't think that would affect when residents would actually need to hear the siren. But it could affect, like I said, certainly affect the testing of them on a monthly basis. And but yeah, it could require some maintenance too. If we want to keep the panels clear, then we're going to have to get somebody out there, especially if we're going to like this, and get the
Well, I know when I'm working with my tools and that, there's a time, I mean, I like to work with battery-driven tools, but at the same time, there's sometimes I need a line power-driven tool for the extra juice that it gives, you know? So I'm just wondering with the top, with this, just wondering, council, on staff, if maybe going from like a AC backup to charging of DC batteries might be the better way to go for more consistency 12 months of the year versus 6 months a year, because our winters are driven out now, so we don't know. I mean, you can figure at least 6 months a year that we may have some vulnerability with solar. And again, I'm an advocate of solar and renewables all the way around, but where you can choke to get the snow off or clean them off. But if you're going to get up 100 feet up in the air, I'm not going to have anybody go do that with liability and get hurt. So I'm going to open this up for discussion here and see what the council thinks about that. I mean, the dollars are there, so it's just a matter of how to spend it wisely and get the more bang for the buck. And the key with the sirens is, you know, the one time you need them is the one time you got to be able to count on them. You have to be able to count on them, like your weapon or whatever, and your fire trucks. You have to be able to know that they're going to work when you need them. Maybe months, weeks, or whatever that you need them, but that one time you need them, they have to be in operating condition. And that's what the siren's all about. So, Kevin, I'm going to open this up with you and see what you think.
Well, I agree with the solar aspect of it, but again, I guess, Chief, do we have any history of power outage problems with our current sirens? If power's gone out, was the battery sufficient? Did we meet our demand, et cetera?
Yeah, I'm not really aware of any issues with the power gone out, the power for the siren stop working. I'm not aware of any incidents like that.
And the life expectancy of, do we know what the life expectancy of the current battery packs and there's backup on our current sirens? What's the life expectancy of those?
There are no current battery backups. We have our current sirens that I'm aware of. That's nothing that federal warning systems point out. If these sirens were, power were to all these sirens would not. But the life expectancy, these batteries would get replaced every 4 years as part of the maintenance package.
Okay. And the parts replacement difference or repair parts from the solar powered units compared to the regular sirens that we have now. Have we had any parts issues or?
I can think of one issue right now since I've been in this position for a couple of years. I can think of one issue that we've had to get a part on the head of the siren on Roanoke and Vassar. They tested it one time, a month of testing, it came back. Something was not working properly and I had to take over. So when I get an email, I sent that to the embedded system, so we pay for a monthly maintenance on them, and they came out and fixed a part that wasn't operating. That's about the only time I can think of that something wasn't working in another sense.
Okay, and again, we test these, or not we, but the state mandates we test them, what, the first Wednesday of every month?
First Wednesday of every month, they're oddly, you can do audible testing.
Audible.
Once a month, they also get, once a day, they get silent tested by embedded systems where it shoots signal, make sure the siren's operating, shoots it back, and make sure it's working. But that's
Okay. And again, do you have any conversations with anybody who currently uses solar units?
I
And
have not.
okay. That's all I have here.
Okay. One question I have here I see here on page 26 again on the packet there about the electric part of it, the connected centers. There's 4 battery warming blankets. So I take it that the batteries are wrapped to keep them warm. So sub-zero weather won't affect them, type of thing like that, or whatever, as good as it can. So that'd be a different charge here. Okay. And once again, I just want to emphasize again, the council is, I believe in renewables, but there's a place for renewables, and we have a weather factor here that makes renewables a little bit different. So when you can access or you know, access the rays, the panels, whether they be motion ones that can move it automatically, or ones that are fixed, you can take a broom or whatever they, you know, because I know we saw that on Shakopee, they do that, but it's on ground level. But again, I don't know where. Again, my concern is I don't know where the rays are going to be on the pole. If they're within, you know, just a simple height difference that you're going to scrape it off, that's one thing. But if they're higher up, then you actually do become an issue. And so, because right now we're going to be facing a 1 to 3, 3 or 5 to 5 8 snowstorm, that would affect something like that right now. So that's my concern. So Joe, I'll pass it on to you.
I was just curious, so with the county, you said they're shooting for 2020 to do their,
That's the number the year effort.
no guarantee, obviously.
Yeah, there's nothing definitive right now. It's just been talked about it in emergency management meetings. They've been discussing this siren study. So yeah, as far as the upgrading, they're looking to do that from what I've heard sometime at 120. But pretty, nothing, no good information right now, they give you some specific dates sometimes.
And then the only other concern I had was whether or not they're deep cycle batteries, which I see they have listed there. I was concerned with the solar, whether or not they charge them. If they fail to charge them, then how's that gonna affect battery life too, but.
So the batteries would be changed out every 4 years or something like that, and then you said, as far as one thing, I mean, the analog to digital, that's gonna happen, and again, I'm sure the cost will go to the city. But as far as you mentioned something earlier about FEMA, will decide what sirens will be taken out of service and then new ones put in, is that what I gathered?
No County Emergency Management along with federal warning systems are doing a siren study, and they'll make the recommendation again. I don't know what criteria they're looking at, but make the recommendation on which sirens should be used in the county and which ones are fine. So.
Okay, Rob?
I'm with you, Mr. Mayor. I'm for the renewable energies, but you know, the harsh weathers that we have here for these poles with a small solar panel on there, you can't beat $5 a month to clear the snow off of those. So I just think the DC AC backup would probably be the best way to go. I did the math. It'd be 20 years before you could recoup at least the $1,200 solar panel difference. So I think the AC DC is definitely a way to go. I would just want to make sure that the other two, that it is a renewable source, you know, the 48 volt DC. If we have to replace those, that the unit we provide for backup batteries and charging and all that stuff would meet the standards for the new siren. So I wouldn't want to go with something less just because we have an old siren, you know what I'm saying? So
That's a good idea.
that's it.
All right.
Yep, I'm pretty much on board with you guys here. When you go last, you really don't have much to say most
Well,
of the time.
I appreciate that, but you know, because I mean, really, when you're talking about $5 a month is $60 a year, or 20 years, that's like $1,200. It's not the end of the world, you know what I mean? So I don't really consider that a major break to it. And like you said about recouping the difference in that, you know, my only concern is again is dependability and making sure these sirens work when we need them to work. We can't sit there and go, you know, don't have a storm because our panels are covered with snow. That's not going to happen. I'm just thinking that the better way to go would be go AC and then, you know, backup and then go DC power. Convert the two that are older with that type of thing, and then the new one go that route. And then, unless we can find out if the solar can be maintained better. I mean, like you say, $5 a month and have someone go up on a ladder and fall, and that's it. We're all pro safety anyway, so.
And from the information I gathered, I think the solar were more geared toward, you know, areas that just wouldn't have that easy accessibility to an electric power source.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what they're more intended for, because it, you know, like I said, if you drive out west towards St. Cloud, you see a lot of solar sirens, but you know, they're out in the middle of nowhere. So I think if you had access to an electrical power source to keep the batteries charged, it's probably the way to go. But again, it's kind of depends on how much you look at.
Yeah, I don't really think this pertains to off-grid here, you know, this type of thing. And Dave, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think everything that the chief has presented this far is pretty spot on. The solar panels are typically for areas that have issues gaining that type of electrical access, or areas that don't have to deal with the wind and snow like we do here. But everything else is absolutely spot on.
All right, well, then in that case, I'm going to make a motion here to approve, I'm going to go with, I don't get the right page here, go with Connexus here to install a line for power, AC backup, DC battery as the main source, the 4 battery warning blankets, we want that for the batteries, and then also the conversion for the 2 existing sirens, we want that. And then also, acknowledgement by Ken that the leftover monies will stay in the capital fund for future expenditures towards new sirens or maintenance of the sirens or whatever we can do for the sirens. And is there a maintenance program you set in place already, or?
Well, the recommended maintenance package that they kind of recommended is the 4-year battery replacement. They'll go up and they'll grease what needs greasing and all this other kind of stuff like that. Basically, check the whole siren out, including replacing batteries and the control board and everything else, and make sure everything's operating the way it should, and just doing that every 4 years to make sure that this thing works the way it should.
So the motion's on the table. Do I have a motion?
I'll second that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Did I make the first time? or-
Yes, you did.
Thank you. So the 3 times I actually do a motion here. All right, Mr. Newbauer Councilmember Newbauer makes a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Thank you, Todd and Dave. Appreciate that. I think it's the right way to go. And I like your thought about it's not in an out-of-grid area where you have to go solar. If we do have the line power, we should utilize it. So thank you for your research on that. All right, moving on to joint powers agreement with St. Francis area schools.
Mayor and council, in front of you tonight is an agreement between the school district and the city of St. Francis to allow the school district to move forward with their building expansions for the elementary school and the middle school. They had originally proposed site improvements to that area. There would have been closure of an access, rerouting of traffic, and all kinds of impacts, and that's the area that MnDOT's looking at for temporary stoplight and everything else that we're talking about. But in order to accommodate the school district and allow them to expand their schools, we suggested entering into this agreement that their board would consider as well. This would allow them to get moving forward on the construction, expansion, but then hold off on all site work until all parties agree on what the improvements are out there.
Is that it? Yep. First of all, I think I can speak for the council in this regard. 11 classrooms, 10 is 11 classrooms, I believe, that you're doing, 10 or 11? 10? Okay. 10 classrooms from the middle school to elementary school, I believe is a good idea. I have no problem with that. And I don't have a problem with the entryway. But I can't emphasize enough here, because I just had a 2-hour meeting today with the parents of Annie and Kaya, and Amar and Melissa Barnes and Sheila Kaopi, the North Area Branch Manager of MnDOT. I had a 2-hour meeting with them today to discuss the corridor. This situation here with 47 is just not Pedersen and 47. It's the corridor, okay? And we're looking for a solution 3 years out or within a 3-year time frame for a permanent solution here. And we're discussing things about single lanes, roundabouts, lower speed limit constantly through our city limits, over-unders that may come into play as far as raising elevations and put tunnels in, whatever. We're discussing a lot of things, as Chief Snow had, because he was at the meetings with me along with our staff and Kate and Joe and everybody was there, with Craig and that. So what I'm saying is that you cannot change, in my opinion, anything with the entryway that will lock it in, that will only work in conjunction with 229. 229 cannot be touched. I want to make that perfectly clear to the St. Francis area schools, as you know, in the contracted states. But this corridor is going to be changed, and anything that adds more traffic to Pedersen cannot be done. I know the city, just as on record here, as I stated at that first meeting we had with all the legislators and that. Excuse me 1 second, I got something here. What I'll say is the city at one time was proposing or looking at options to get a street continued from Bridge Street through the middle school campus area, bus area, to Pedersen. We have now backed off of that. We don't want to contribute any more traffic to Pedersen from the city yet, okay? We will work with our retail in the areas that we have and how we'll work around with our St. Francis forward plan. I'm putting that on record so that you understand where we're coming from. So I have no problem, and I'm going to open this up for discussion, but I have no problem with, again, the classrooms being added. I think that's a good idea. And again, change the entryway for more efficiency in and out of drop-off of students and all that. But it cannot work, make it so, I'm trying to make you understand this, that it cannot be done so that whatever you do there is tied into 229, because that can't happen. The corridor is hands-off until MnDOT, the state, and our city decides what's going to be done there on long term, and the input from St. Francis area schools too, by the way, important, and business owners and community to find out what we're going to do to make this a solved problem. Because at that meeting today, we found out, we discussed about how that crosswalk was just a Band-Aid. all that was a Band-Aid from what was there in the past. It didn't accomplish anything except to shove off an inevitable accident down the road. Today I found out that Kaya is home, and that Annie has completed her therapy, but Kaya will have brain damage forever. And we cannot allow this to go. As I also mentioned in the meeting, we're not naive enough to believe, and I've said this at both meetings we've had, that we're going to be 100% accident-free zone. It's never going to happen. What is going to happen, by the way, if we can lessen the amount down to property damage only and not fatalities and injuries, we'll have succeeded very well. And that's our whole goal here. So I hope that St. Francis Area Schools is on board with the city of St. Francis, because safety is eminent, is the priority here. As far as we're concerned, we've been told that money's not an issue now, but they're looking to long-term solution here to make this section of our road through our corridor, through our city, safe and responsible in a safe way, so people, I mean, a fender bender is one thing, injuries and fatalities is another ballgame. So I just want to make sure I emphasize this to St. Francis Area School. We need you on board, as well as the city and everybody, all the other entities, but understand something. Do your remodeling, but hands off before 47. Okay, as we will do too, by the way. Just to let you know.
That's why we're here.
Okay, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. So I'm going to open this up to Sarah. I'll start with you.
I am thrilled that we're going to get going here. I think everybody is ready to see the expansion start. It will be best for our students, and I looked through it and it looks pretty good. I think the district is they know what their parameters are, and I trust that they're going to follow them. And I think this will be, it'll be good for the community to see that they're starting to use some of that bond money. Right now, they're not seeing a lot of that happening, and I think it's been a little frustrating. So I just want to thank St. Francis Area Schools for working with us and for getting this ball rolling finally.
Okay, thank you. Ralph?
I looked over it. I agree that the school should move forward with adding their classrooms. But I do think the school, the city, and MnDOT need to work on how those buses and traffic flow between the elementary and the middle school and out onto Pedersen. I'm an advocate still for the road to go straight through. And I do believe that half the city's residents are pushed south of the elementary school and then north on Pedersen. And if that road were to go straight through, that traffic would go straight into Pedersen, into the businesses, instead of having more northbound traffic, which makes you have to cross over whatever solution they come up with. That I'm an advocate for, is to push that road straight through. And if I gotta start talking with MnDOT myself and get that point through so they can look at that as a study as well. You have half the city pushed south of Pedersen, going north, crossing a 4-lane highway. To me, it doesn't make a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense to send them straight across a divided highway that you're gonna put a red light in. That, I made that suggestion. I don't believe it's been suggested to MnDOT yet, so I will make sure that that gets done.
I just want to add to that, by the way. Why do we have the bus garage there in the middle school at that part of the campus with drop off and pick up? That's the problem, having extra traffic. We already know that First Street Ambassador is a cluster of traffic on drop off and pickups, as St. Francis Area Schools well knows that. So, you know, HKGI, our planners, mentioned something in working with our St. Francis Forward Plan. You know, your school is here, and it's going to stay here. So we have to learn to work with each other. We said this before. We reached out to you 2 years ago. Now you have some new members again on the board, so we hope that will continue. But at the same time, I understand where you're coming from, but at the same time, safety is the #1 issue there, and to compound the problem doesn't make sense. But we'll have to wait to see what the minds of everybody together and open discussion and hopefully come up with a solution that will benefit all. Not everyone's going to get what they want, but at the end of the day, if it's a safer road, that's the whole bottom line. We cannot allow accidents like this happen again. These girls are affected for their whole life that they will have, and luckily they're alive to see the changes. That's a big thing. And as I talked to parents today, you could feel the agony they were going through for the months they've gone through it and years to come. So, Joe, I'll pass this on to you.
I don't have any objections to moving forward. I think clearing everything up and making sure we can get everything going here. I wasn't the first meeting where they showed some of what they wanted to do with the school, and it was definitely very inviting. I think it's, us working together is going to help not only the district, but it's also going to help the city. So I'm glad that we've been able to take the next step.
Thank you. Kevin?
I don't have a whole lot to add, Mayor, other than I met with Kate about 10 days ago, and this part of the discussion brought me up to speed about this as well. And the old adage, they say it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. Well, I think this agreement kind of sets things in stone that, you know, we have rules and regulations for a reason. We're dealing with the whole city as a whole, not just one entity or several entities. You know, it's for the benefit of all. So it looks like in writing and in theory, as long as everybody abides by it properly, by all means, let's get this some expansion going. The money's been appropriated and enlarge the schools, and we'll see what happens with 47 with, like I say, the input of the city and our bodies, government bodies. So.
While you are here, do you have any questions for us as a council at all?
I think we're just here to support it. If you had any, we appreciate the efforts. I know Joe worked hard to get that to us. We had our attorney look at it. He said it's good to go. We're ready to bring it to our school board on the 25th, and so we just want to be here to support it.
Okay. So like I say, after this meeting today, we came away from the table. MnDOT's going to be doing temporaries, discussions in open meetings, and then by 2021, of course, permanent changes will be in place. The corridor, I can tell you, in 2 years, will look a whole heck of a lot different than it does today. A whole heck of a lot. And again, they're talking because we have elevation problems over by 24 or by Marty's coming on 47 going south. So the priority one is, of course, Pedersen. And then of course we have Quick Trip just submitted for the building permit. That'll be coming. So there's other temporary things in place that will be in place until the major changes are done. But it will take a lot of discussion from the public, from again St. Francis Area Schools, City of St. Francis, county and state to accomplish the whole goal here. So I just want to say to you again that it's as Mom stated today, one of the parents said they were concerned about Pedersen. But you have to look at the broader picture. It basically starts up at the curb by Public Works all the way through Ambassador going north. It's a corridor change that is necessary here to make this safe for all of us. And that's why I'm emphasizing low speeds, not just when school lights are flashing, continuous. Right. I'd like to see 35, no more than 40 miles an hour all day. All day. And then we have to be receptive, by the way, to the business owners. County Market, Quick Trip, Depot, Brady's, whatever, they all have to be affected too because a certain change on a turn lane or a road can affect their business, which affects all of us too. So we have to be prudent and conscientious of everybody's involvement in this, make sure that the decisions we make are best for everyone concerned. So I just want to thank everybody who put the effort into this. So on that, I will entertain a motion for the joint powers agreement with St. Francis Area Schools. Do I have that?
Mr. Mayor, I would like to make that motion.
Councilmember Udvik makes that motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Mueller makes that second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, meeting open to public in second segment. No, anybody? Okay. Now we'll move on to department reports. I know Paul's not the author today. So, Jory, what is this?
Well, I will let you know that all reports are in the package. We want to make sure that we got them on time. I can try to answer any questions, although this is not my area of expertise.
All right, well, any questions? Kevin, I'll start with you, anything?
No, nothing here, Mayor.
Okay. Joe?
No.
Josh?
Nope, I have nothing.
Okay, sir? Okay, I don't either, by the way. So, Paul got away with this one.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, moving on to council member reports. Okay, Sarah, I'll start with you.
Not a whole lot to report other than, I want to thank our Public Works for their great job of snow removal. You know, it's been a task, and I'm sure that they have had plenty of complaints, and I just asked the residents to be patient. There's only so much room to put the snow, and yes, sometimes we have to pull out a little bit further, but just be careful and cautious, and they'll move the snow as quickly as they can. But you know, if we're hauling it off in trucks, that's an additional expense as well. So, you know, spring will be here soon, and all of that will melt and go away. But it's just, you know, watching different comments from people and hearing from different people, it seems like our roads in our city seem to be in better condition, plow-wise and salting-wise, than a lot of our bigger surrounding areas. So I think that's a really good plus for our city, and I just want to thank our public works for their hard work on that.
I just want to let our residents know the next couple of days is going to be tough with the snow. Make sure you have a survival kit in your vehicle, blankets, a snack, something like that, because this snow emergency in the next 2 days is going to be pretty rough. Roads are going to be bad, but I do want to commend Paul and his team for working diligently through the last two. But this one is going to be a doozy. So drive safe, drive slow, put a blanket and a survival kit inside your vehicles.
Out of town report, had some discussions with the mayor and staff about a few different topics. I'm looking forward to hearing back from Oak Grove. I was kind of curious why it wasn't on the agenda, or if there's something about another meeting coming up, and I was just curious if we have anything with that.
Sure, they couldn't turn around the agreement with their comments fast enough to get it on our agenda. As soon as there are two that could meet, it would be tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock. So we're going to go from what I understood from them, there's a few minor points that we have to clarify.
Minor?
Depends on who you ask me, but in my opinion, minor. I don't see, I think some of the things that I've heard, I don't see them being obstacles really. I think that they can work through, and I think part of the reason the delay for the meeting was their attorney had to review some things, and I think when that review comes back, I think we'll find that maybe we're making them all up on one particular provision in there. That's my gut reaction. I don't know that for sure, but I guess I will find out in the afternoon, so.
And then as far as audio, we're still looking for viable solutions. We're going to keep looking for other sources to get the mics that we were previously looking at. Not a lot out there. But as far as a permanent solution, we just don't have one of those yet. And I just wanted to say too that the Winning with Cops, our movie night is that Saturday, this Saturday. I wanted to say it was the 23rd, but I'm not sure if that's. Okay. Send me an email too to remind me, because I know I have it somewhere and I was just looking for it. I want to say it was February 23rd, so I was looking forward to attending that as well. Other than that, no.
Kevin?
I had the opportunity to meet with Joe, individual meetings with Joe, Kate, and the fire chief as well, a week and a half ago, and really got apprised of what's going on, and had a much better understanding. And again, believe it or not, these guys are worker bees. They have a lot going on. What we scheduled for a 30 to 40 minute meeting turned out to be about 2 hours a pop. And I do extend my gratitude for taking the time to do it. It means a lot to me, and it'll just make me a better servant for the citizens as well. Other than that, my first P&Z meeting tomorrow. Again, thank you for the opportunity to be a liaison. So, barring any snow, I know I'll be there for the 4-wheel drive truck. So I don't know, Kate, I'm sure we'll send out an email if it doesn't happen. But that's all I have, sir.
I want to point out something to the viewing audience and the staff too, by the way, because Paul told me, unlike the city of Minneapolis where they have a truck that's assigned to a district, okay, for plowing, and then they change drivers over 24/7s. We don't have that luxury. We have our front-end loader, our grader, and then 2 plow trucks on a new one coming. But, you know, as Sarah alluded to, our guys work pretty hard. I mean, they're on 24/7 standby here with the weather because, again, it's not one truck covering one district and then multiple drivers. We don't have 60 to 100,000, 400,000 people live in our city. So these guys do work very hard. And I can't emphasize enough to be patient because, you know, it's one of the things as a builder I know that, by code, city, or policy rather, openings to driveways are limited because there are no other ways, if they were so wide, if people made them as wide as they'd like to, there'd be no place to put snow. And you have to have a place to put snow when you're plowing. So, one of the things Paul's told me is that as more snow, we're gonna have places to put it. So, you'll have to be carried to other areas. I know around Public Works, I was mentioning before the meeting about I had to edge out to make a turn and stuff like that. So you gotta be careful today. This is Minnesota. This is what we get. We haven't had it for a while. We've got a little lackadaisical at it, but it's here, and we're stuck with it. So, be patient. The plows are out there. The guys are doing a job, and they're working hard. But but like I say, we have a crew about 9 people in Public Works, and so they're plowing and doing the trucks and all that. But they're working hard. So once again, it'd be nice if you had 60 people, but then you have a big payroll. Taxpayers don't want that. So, also, I want to mention too. On Oak Grove, by the way, I can only mention M-I-N-O-R, minor. Okay, that is the key word I would like to, on our end. I think I can safely say that after all the work this council has done, I had a big talk last week with Weston Wolf. We've done everything we possibly can. I mean, I don't know what else we could do to make that work there. I don't know why they're looking a gift horse in the mouth, because it truly is a gift horse. I don't know why any city would want to deal with wastewater when they don't have to. But I can say to you, I'm open myself to a certain level, but I also would say enough is enough. Make it happen or don't make it happen. Live with your mistake as we have lived with ours and make it work here. But do I want to see it happen for local regionalization? I think it's excellent. I think there's many pluses. I've said before the council meeting, I think the tilt of the two-beam scale tilts a little more in their favor, but it still works for us too in the long run. So I just hope it works, but I don't know what more we can do. I just don't know. Unless we want to buy a Mercedes, and we're not going to do that. So now also I want to ask Craig, are you getting numbers for Riverbank?
They're due there'll be an official bid opening Monday at 2 p.m.
Okay, Monday 2 p.m. Okay, all right. So, because I happened to run into one of the people from Riverbank, and actually he switched his whole frame of thinking, and he's for a paved road now. We all know that gentleman named Randy, so he's on board for paved road. And I think you're gonna see more of that, especially as it gets completed. I think people are gonna really like what they see. Change is hard for people, but once they see it, I know our ultimate goal will be to get rid of all gravel roads. I think that's the ultimate solution. So I see a little uptick in oil prices, but a lot lower than it was last year when we bid them. So hopefully that will come out with at least an equal number or no higher. Lower would be nice. We hope. We'll keep our fingers crossed. All right, we'll keep us abreast of that. Also, I sent you a link to the Minnesota legislature about the Minnesota Aid program, just to keep. You got that?
Yeah.
Okay, because they're asking for ideas for future expenditure for monies.
Yeah.
So I want to keep on top of that. I know also, by the way, the local government aid program, I told Joe this too, by the way, there's something I got from LMC that they're going to extend it from up to another $30 million. They're going to go back to 2002 levels for LGA money, which would be good. So hopefully we'll get some of that too. So that'd be nice. But I just thought I'd mention that to council know that. Darcy, you're taking a vacation. Get out in the sun. Try to bring some back if you can. It'd be nice if I saw some. Other than that, I don't think anything else. Just be safe out there with the snow. Be patient, and like I say, when you're out there shoveling or whatever, elderly people, be careful. Wait. I mean, I don't. Go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to respond to Joe. It's March 22nd. It's the Waynewood House.
I'm getting worried about that.
6 to 8.
Yeah.
I was waiting on.
Yeah, you're off there.
And I think Rob's point about having something in your car and all that, when you're driving around, I think sometimes we get lackadaisical. I think we're going from a warm area to a warm area. We don't think about the in-between. If the car breaks down, you'll know that is important. So it's winter time. Hopefully the break is going to come here, going into March, where we'll get some 30-degree weather and start seeing some melt, which would be great. So barring any further business, which is once in a while we get a short meeting, which is nice. I know I appreciate it. I'm sure staff does too. So barring any future business, I will adjourn this meeting at 6:44.